Welcome, and thanks for watching Her Story. Her Story stands for Heroic, Eloquent, Resilient, and Relentless Women. This is a platform that was created to help empower women in telling their stories while empowering others to share their stories as well. Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Her Story. We are already on our fifth episode, and I want to thank all of our supporters, everyone that has tuned in and watched. And if you haven't done so at this time, tune into Her Story and watch our previous episodes. I have a special guest today. I am so excited to have her here with me. We have Deshawna Abrams here as a special guest. I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Deshawna, she has an incredible story that she'll be sharing with us today. So I'm going to start off by letting her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about who she is and her story. So, Deshawna, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you being here, first and foremost. So I just want to ask you, you have watched a previous episode or two.
Yes, I have.
So what does her story mean to you?
Her story means to me overcoming trials and tribulations and coming out like a lion.
Okay.
And, just standing strong after everything you've been through.
Okay. So I'm going to imagine I'm sitting here with Miss Lion herself. With Miss Lion herself. Oh my God, you have an incredible story. When we talked the other day, you don't even know it. This young lady, she was talking, telling me some things, and I'm in the background like, oh my God, you are telling my story. I'm screaming, praising God, like, thank you, Lord. I thank you for alignment. I thank you for putting us in alignment with each other, because she touched me. You touched and inspired me. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, she is so strong. You are so courageous. So
Thank you.
I guess I'll start off. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm a 37-year-old mother of two. And I'm just from a small town outside of Buffalo. And I'm trying to share my testimony and speak on it so I can help anyone or heal someone in my situation, sharing my testimony. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do now, is use my voice to heal.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm so glad to hear that you do have an incredible story. You do have an incredible story. You've overcome so much. And I know you mentioned, where you are, but you've overcome a lot and you're in a really good place now.
Yeah.
In telling her story, like, what is it that you would like to share if you had a message to give to young women?
So the message I would like to give to young women is love yourself. Growing up, I didn't have anybody to pour into me. Mostly women pretty much tore me down. So if I could say anything, just love yourself, put you first. Self-love, everything else follows, because I didn't have that, as a young woman. I developed self-love, I would say, at the age of 31.
Wow.
So, yeah, just love yourself, put you first. Yeah.
I can relate to that because recently it's been a couple of years now, but this new term, self-love and this self stuff, and it's like, wait a minute, what do I do for myself? And I had to reevaluate that thing. It's like, hold on, I'm not spending enough time with myself, on myself, for myself, and that's actually unhealthy. When we pour into everybody else and we're not pouring into ourselves. So you mentioned that you didn't think a lot about yourself as a child.
No.
Why is that? Where'd that come from?
As they say, mothers are your first teacher.
They are.
For me, I'm just going to be honest, my mother tore me down. She was literally the first woman to tear me down. And I just became angry, like an angry person. And it just happened, women after woman after woman tore me down. And then I fell into the arms of a man who, a womanizer. So it just continued all the way up until the age of 30.
Wow. Wow. So I'm going to imagine that those experiences, you know, your childhood, your mom tearing you down, getting into that relationship. I mean, what was that like for you? So up until the age of 30, so something happened. So I'm guessing something had to happen. You had a breakthrough, something changed.
So I always longed for a relationship with my mother. So I developed, started getting a relationship with God, which allowed me to forgive my mother for everything she put me through. So I did come to her and I voiced how I've been feeling all of those years. And she finally, at the age of 30, admitted that she was messed up and she's sorry and I'm her strong child and she's gonna try to do better. And I held her to that, you know. And for a couple months she did, and then it was right back to the drawing board. So.
What is your relationship like now with your mom?
I don't have a relationship with my mother, and I'm okay with that. Only because I know I did what I was supposed to do.
Right.
So I don't have a relationship with my mother.
I didn't have a relationship with my mother either. And she wound up passing and we never got to say the I'm sorry's, never got to say I love you. Because by the time I had gotten to her, she had tubes in her, so we couldn't communicate. But there was a long silence for a long time where we didn't talk. You know, and just people holding on to different things and then don't know how to talk about it and don't know how to express themselves. You know, and I didn't know what it was because like you, I tried and I gave it all that I could, you know. So, and she passed with me never knowing, you know, but I didn't have a relationship with her, and it did some things to me too that I had to overcome because as a child, all you want is that relationship with your parents. You just want your mother, your father, you know what I mean? And you want to make them happy. You want them to love you and you want to love them. That's all we want, you know, and you were denied that as a child.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you think you encountered, went through as a result of not having that, as a result of your childhood?
Growing up, I got into a lot of fights, you know, with females. I was just angry. Yeah, so my mom ended up putting me out at the age of 17, which I had an infant daughter at the time. And her father was about 7 years older than me. So I was forced to kind of go live in a toxic situation. So
It's okay. It's okay.
it made me an emotional person. Like, why doesn't she love me? You know, why is she doing me like this? Because it was 5 of us. And she didn't do my sister and my brothers like that. It was just me. Like, she made an example out of me and turned me to like the black sheep of the family.
Where did you stand in that 5? Where do you stand in the 5 kids?
I'm the middle child. I'm the third.
The third.
Yeah.
Okay. And you never knew why she like targeted you?
She told me at 30 that I was her strong child, but why would you tear your strong child down instead of building them up? So she never really had a real excuse, but I was able to forgive her. And I think that was through my relationship with God. So, and I accept her and love her for who she is, even if she's not in my life.
Right. That's the same understanding I had to come to. I came to the understanding that my mom did the best she could with what she had and what she knew how, you know, and she's my mom. I love her regardless, you know, and, you know, for whatever reason that I'll probably never know the fullness of it, that, you know, we just didn't get along. It seemed like there was, I don't know, I don't know. When I was a kid, they told me my mama hated me. They told me she hated me, and I didn't receive that. I couldn't understand that. I was like, no, your parents don't hate you. There's no way, you know. But as I look back, it's like, why did I get treated that way?
Right.
You know. Fast forward, how does that make you, how did that affect you as a mother?
To be honest, I was a young mother. I was 17 when I had my daughter. So in the beginning, I saw me giving off certain traits that my mother threw my way. And I had to wake up quick and I'm like, wait, I can't do this.
Right.
You know, so I had to break the chains of what she did to me. Because I did make a lot of mistakes with my daughter, not to the extent of what she's done, but I've made a lot of mistakes. But now I want to build up my daughter. I want to pour into her, you know, give her, you know, everything she needs that I didn't get.
Right, right. So you only have one daughter?
Yes, I have one daughter and a son.
Okay, okay. You got the best of both worlds there.
Yeah.
That's a sweet mix. How old is she now?
She'll be 20 in November.
Okay, so I'm sure you done poured into her on top of pouring into her and all that love that you didn't get.
Yeah.
She got it and he got it too.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned you wound up it led you into the hands of, I guess, your ex-husband?
Yes. So I was 14, and my ex-husband was 22. So, you know, I'm just gonna call it what it is. That's a pedophile. And we were hiding the relationship for about a year and a half, until word got out. So by the time my parents found out about him, I was already pregnant with my daughter.
Okay.
So in the beginning, everything was fine and everything was good. But this man knew what type of household I came from, being from the same neighborhood, and how broken my family was, and you know. So I guess he sought me out, and I'm just a baby at this time. I'm 14 years old.
Right.
And before I knew it, I was pregnant. So I was not able to finish high school in the time frame I was supposed to, because my mother put me out at 17.
Okay.
And I was forced to go live with, well, then my baby's father. But we did marry in 2007.
Okay.
And I hate to use the term, but I was pretty much tortured.
Oh my God. From the time you got married, or did it start before?
And it was like I broke free of being belittled by my mother, and you know, and then I get this womanizer, you know, who, you know, tricked me as to who he really was. And I endured a lot of suffering for the next 14 years.
Wow.
But that relationship was like an 18-year time span. I was physically abused, verbally abused, and...
What was it? Did he have a problem? What was wrong? What was going on?
To be honest with you, I don't feel like he loved himself, and I feel like that's why he treated me the way he treated me. Like, when we would go out, people would say, like, she's too pretty to be with you, and we don't know why she's with you. And I would notice when we get home, he would always start an argument, or, you know, and it was like clockwork. So you know, I hate to say that a man was jealous of his wife, but that's really what it felt like. Because I had to suffer the verbal and physical abuse when that was being said.
That was his self-esteem. It was that he had low self-esteem. And
I figured that out in the end.
Yeah. He had a low self-esteem, and he couldn't stand you getting the attention. I think that probably tore him apart. I've definitely witnessed that and gone through that myself. And so then they tear you down to where you feel like you're nothing, and you have to stay in this and depend on him.
Right. So that's why I say I didn't love myself until the age of, I didn't have self-love until pretty much I got rid of everybody that was, you know, trying to ruin my life.
So in those years, I understand you're a young woman, you know, getting into this relationship, into this marriage. Why did you stay? Why did you stay so long?
I'm the type of person, I see the good in people. And I saw that he was messed up. You know, he's admitted behind closed doors that he was messed up, and keep praying for him. And I always used to want to fix or help people. And I honestly say my marriage lasted as long as it did because I felt sorry for him. You know, but
We do that.
I had to save myself.
What was that awakening for you? Like what was that awakening where, you know what, I have to start loving me and I have to save myself?
The awakening for me is when he got caught having an affair, and I used to be Inspector Gadget, so I put like a mini cam in his suitcase when he said he was going away to a guy's trip.
Okay.
And I heard multiple sex acts on this. He didn't even realize I taped it in the suitcase. And I'm hearing it. And when he returned, I'm sitting on the porch and I'm like playing it so he can hear himself and the women over and over and over.
Wow.
And I said, I'm gonna need you to leave my house and I want a divorce. And he calls me the B word. And my 2 children are standing there. So as toxic as he was, I always told my kids, if you ever see it getting heated, leave, because I don't want my kids to see that.
Right.
And vice versa, he didn't care if the kids were standing there. So I would say to my daughter, take my son away, you know. But that particular day, my son, he was 6 years old, and my daughter was standing in the door. They're 7 years apart. And he was like, you know what? I'm sick of you, bitch. And then he went like this, and he backhanded me, and I fell with my kids watching.
Oh my God.
On my front lawn. Now, I watched my mother be abused by my father my entire childhood. I watched my mother leak brain fluid from my father, hitting her in her head so much. You know, so that I knew that wasn't gonna be me.
Right, right.
And I, at that point, said, I have to save me, I have to save my kids, because this is not gonna work.
Right.
And that's what did it for me. So I was belittled daily in that marriage. And all the way up until the point he did hit me that day, he kept saying, you keep on saying stuff and I'm gonna knock you out like you were a man. So I was on guard from like 6 months prior to that. He just kept saying, say one more thing and I'm gonna knock you out like you were a man. So I did some snooping around my house and I ended up finding out that he was actually on steroids. Yeah, because the rage came out of nowhere.
Wow. What was he on steroids for?
Again, he likes attention. He wants to be seen. You know, this is who he is.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So he changed. He became just a raging.
He became raging. I didn't find out until a year later that he choked my daughter in the kitchen because she wouldn't speak to his mother. So while his mother, I was at school. I was trying to be a nurse at this time. And my daughter kept this from me until we were going through divorce proceedings. So, and as we walked in for the kids to go meet the lawyer, because that's how the process goes, they speak to the lawyer. My daughter was like, Mommy, I gotta tell you something. And I said, what? Now this is a year after this happened. She said, Daddy strangled me. And this is all the time frame where I found out he was on steroids. And I just felt like, I felt horrible, like my heart jumped out on the ground because I pride myself on protecting my kids.
Right, right. You know, to be honest with you, her story is so important to me because it seems like I don't care who I talk to, where they are, where they're from, and it doesn't even matter what race they are. I hear the same stories with women. And I hear that, I hear that same thing, a lot of those same things. And it's like we all go through the same cycles in one form or another, you know what I mean? These different cycles of abuse, the manipulation, the being put down. And I understand it, you're a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
You are. You're a beautiful woman, and someone with a low self-esteem, they're trying to tear you down so that you don't know how beautiful you are, but also so other people don't see it in you.
And it was working. It was working for a while. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then something happened. What happened to where because you say you were snooping, you were playing Inspector Gadget. So something happened, clicked to where you're like, hold on, something ain't right. Something has to change.
So I would dib and dab in the Bible, and I was in church every Sunday, but I wasn't retaining anything. So I just I was at my breaking point, and I just fell to my knees in my bathroom, and I said, God, if you get me out of this marriage, if you get me and my kids over the hump, I give my life to you. And I just asked God to order my steps. And as we talked about, I wrote everything out that I wanted to prosper in my life. And it got real. Like I was down to 10 cents in my bank account. This is like, yeah. And I just said, God, I do whatever you need me to do. Just help me, send help. And I trusted that, and I gave it to God. I didn't worry about anything. Everything I prayed for, God, just here. So.
How long before you left did you write down that list? Did you start writing down what you wanted?
I would say a year before, because I don't know. He made it so my finances were always low, and I was always stuck and put in a bind because I can't afford to do this, da da da. Now, keep in mind, I bought my house before we got married.
Oh wow.
So I didn't have to worry about a place to live or whatever. But he made me think like I couldn't survive and do this. But you know what? I realized I was the one doing it the whole time. So that's what God opened my eyes to. You don't need him. You just need me. And for so long, I didn't put God first. I was putting that marriage first, that, you know what I'm saying? So I guess God stripped everything, Job, everything from me for me to put him first. And that's what I did. And I have not looked back since. And life got amazing.
In the beginning, when you first walked away, so how did you walk away?
I had took a trip by myself. I said, watch the kids, you know what I'm saying? Watch the kids. And I drove all the way to Georgia by myself, stopping state to state, just enjoying, not worrying about nothing. I knew my kids was good. And like, I'm the type of person, if I drive more than 30 minutes, I get anxiety.
Oh,
I drove all the way to Georgia.
That was major for you. That was major.
And I felt so liberating. I'm like, if I can do this, I can do anything.
And
I just came back a whole nother person.
What?
So, yeah.
How long were you gone?
I was gone for 5 days.
Just enjoying you, just breathing.
Wherever
living.
the GPS took me.
When you came back, you was like, I'm ready, this is it.
I was just like, what are you doing? Get out of here. He refused to leave and, threatened me. And it was the point where I was sleeping with a knife under my pillow because I was scared he was going to physically assault me again. So, yeah.
How long did it take before you finally left?
The thing he cares about more is like women and his money. So I knew, because he wouldn't take care of our kids financially. I got tired of asking. So I went to child support, and I put him on child support. Immediately, when he got served, he was out in 20 minutes. So
whoa, that's all it took.
Right. But I wished him well. We had a conversation in the living room. And he was like, I think we should give it another shot. I'm like, no, people grow apart. I let him know I forgive him because I genuinely did, and to go find somebody for you, I let him know that. And he was just shocked that I was just taking it so well because I'm like, I'm free now. There's nothing you can offer me. I love myself now, you know, I'm trying to better my life. And he was really setting me back in life. So we agreed to disagree, you know.
And parted ways.
Parted ways.
Wow, man. You overcame so much. What was the biggest hurdle for you in that marriage, in that relationship?
The biggest hurdle for me was I just realized I have people watching me. My kids are watching me, and I have to role model for my kids, something my mother never did. You know, she stayed in that abusive relationship. To us, she made it look normal, you know? And I wish she would have left, you know, and been a better role model, you know, but she didn't, to the point where my mother's terminal now for taking so many hits to the head. So I just realized that I got to save me. I got to most importantly save my kids because they didn't ask to be here.
Right. Did they understand? How did they take it once you guys split?
Well, my son was a baby, so he blamed me as I made daddy go away or whatever. But as he got older, he started to see who it really was. You know, they keep him at arm's length now because he is more toxic than ever right now.
What?
I mean, he sees that we're happy, and we're happy because you're not here. And, you know, I'm remarried, and there's always a smile on my face, like, you know.
That list you wrote out before you actually walked away.
Yes.
What did that look like?
That list asked God to send people who genuinely love me, who have no ill intent against me, who really just want to help me. I also wrote out what type of man I wanted God to send, all the qualities I wanted God to instill in him. I asked God, of course, to bless my finances and, you know, just health. And I would say everything I put on that paper, God delivered.
Man, that is amazing. That is amazing. Look, you got me inspired. You got me so inspired over here. I got to get my little list together. I got to get my wish list together and be intentional and purposeful about it. When you told me that the other day, I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I ever wrote down a list like that. I done wrote down a whole lot of lists now, a whole to-do list, my business list, all these bills. I don't think I ever wrote down a list like that before. That is so encouraging hearing that. So where are you now in your life?
Right now, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm happy. I have a wonderful marriage to my best friend, and I'm a better mother than I ever been. And right now, I'm starting to try to get my feet wet because I wanna speak. As I said, and help people. I want to travel the world and use my voice to heal. So I declare that I will be doing that within the next 2 years.
I declare, I decree, absolutely. You have to command that thing, claim it. I believe in writing out the vision and making it plain. Write out the vision and make it plain. So all this that you want, we claiming it, you're going to have it. This is just the beginning. This is just in the beginning. And you have a powerful story, a powerful voice, and that God is going to use you with that to touch a whole lot of women, to touch a whole lot of people. And, you know, just because people, they think they know what you've been through and they think they know that your story, but nobody ever really knows until you tell your story, you know, because things look one way from the outside. And a lot of times it's a facade of what's really going on.
Yeah, because I pretended like everything was happy, like he was the world's greatest father, only because I was embarrassed to share what I was really going through. And I didn't talk about it. So I made everybody think it was perfect, but I was suffering. I was dying. Like I had a heart attack at the age of 25, you know?
Oh my God. From stress?
From stress, from being married to, you know, an evil person. And my family is so toxic and everybody leaned on me. And, you know, I just got so tired and I had a heart attack.
Oh my God. At 25 years old.
Yeah. So.
And that was like over 10 years ago. And you were so young.
Yeah. So I don't allow people with toxic around me. I I just don't.
You can't afford it.
I can't afford
You
it.
can't afford it. None of us really can afford it. Some people, they love toxicity and that's all they know. Like, let's just imagine your childhood, there's a lot of toxicity. Some people stay drawn to that and stay in that and they never actually get out of that. And then they create toxic relationships, toxic environments. But you chose to get out of that. You wanted something different. You saw better for yourself and your family.
I mean, yeah, like this year, God removed my entire family away from me because that's what they are. And I prayed, that simple prayer, God, remove anybody that's not, for me, that's toxic. And I pretty much lost my whole family this year, but I'm all right with that because I have my husband, my children, that's all I need, and God.
You have the
So,
people that need to be there, the people that
right.
matter most. They're there. I had avoided that prayer for a long time. Because I wasn't ready for what was gonna come with it. So I recently prayed that prayer, and I tell you, it's been interesting just sitting back and watching. Okay, God, I see you. Okay, God, I'm paying attention. It's interesting watching who's actually in your corner and who really stands around and those that, were just there for whatever. Some
Right.
folks just there to hear your business and go run tell somebody else.
Yeah.
Some folks just there to bring you down and tear you down, but we have to realize those people that are there for our benefit and actually support and build us up.
Right.
You mentioned that you were angry as a child and that you fought a lot. I fought a lot too as a kid. You might have fought a little bit more than me. Me and my brother fought in
Yeah.
school and all that good stuff. Was
Right.
that there was that anger was that you were holding on? Was that because from your mother, from your childhood, you just expressing, trying to get it out?
I guess that was a lot of it. And then I would go to school, and there was this teacher who also tore me down as well, a black woman.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's still in the school system tearing down other children. So, yeah. So I would get it from my mother and then go to school and get it from her. And, so yeah, a lot of anger came from black women tearing me down.
Man. And then you were fighting and so you were really just exhibiting what you were receiving.
Yes. I didn't love myself. I didn't like myself. My mother made me hate myself.
I I don't really talk about it, but I asked my dad a few years back why my mom treated me like she treated me, and I had no idea I was gonna get the answer I got. My mom used to do just spiteful things towards me, and I didn't understand. Um, and you excuse you like, okay, I'll try something else. I'll do something different, and then it's little just spiteful, mean, nasty things, and I'm like, okay, and then it got to a point where I became cold because it went from me to my children, you
Yeah.
know, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna allow this to happen. So after she had been passed some years, and I asked my dad, why did mom treat me like she did? And he told me, he said, your mom wanted you to be for somebody else. She was seeing somebody else, and she wanted you to be for him. And you came out looking like me. So that explained a lot for me because my whole childhood, I heard, you ugly just like your daddy. You ugly just like them Thompsons. That's all I heard as a child. And I'm like, you married to I didn't get it. I didn't understand. This is who you married, as a child. But, she tore me down too. And those are things that I had to overcome. When he told me that, I knew he wasn't lying because he tried to protect her. He tried to protect her image because that was his wife, and my mother. But when he told me, it made total sense. It made 100% sense. And I'm like, wow, I paid all those years. I endured all that pain from something that had nothing to do with me. Nothing at all to do with me.
My story is similar to that too.
Yeah. And I just found this out a few years ago. Me and my dad was literally on the road traveling to Illinois, and I don't know, some just like, what? Why? It's just one of the things you just always wonder why. Now that I'm older, I have a zillion more questions I would have loved to ask her and known, but that time has passed. But then that just kind of that gave me closure on that. That gave me some closure on that. I'm not mad at her. I don't know the circumstances that revolved around all of that. But I know what I endured. However, I still loved her for who she is, you know. And we go through that. At the end of the day, it's, hey, what are we gonna do with these lemons we getting? What are
Make
we gonna
lemonade.
do? Baby, we over here making sweet tart specials, lemon meringue pie. We are doing it. The more you and I talk, the more we have so much in common. It is so crazy. But like I said, a lot of these stories, there's so many other women's stories. And I think about, we're from two different parts of the country, and we went through some things and we endured things because of our mothers,
Yeah.
right? I know young women, and I've watched them raise their children, and I see how they raise their children. And I know some women, they might beat their children a little excessively, a whole lot of different things. And you look at it, and it's like, is this really discipline, or are you mad at this child taking something out on this child because of
Right.
their father or something going on inside of you? You know, um, I know I've been in relationships and I've heard guys say, that their mother told them they ain't never going to be anything, and their mothers tore them down and beat them down because of whatever their daddy may have done.
Yeah.
And these are these men that we're dealing with now that endured that as a child. And we are the women that endured these things from our mothers as a child dealing with these men. So there's so much trauma and pain that we all have endured, but we're trying to become whole, get better, heal ourselves, love on us, and love somebody else too.
Right.
And that's part of why a lot of relationships fail, because people, they don't know. A lot of times they don't know the answer. I'm pretty sure your ex-husband couldn't explain what was really going on with him.
It was the same situation. His mother was abused. She was the side chick. She had 7 kids by somebody else's husband, and nobody poured into him. And he was made to, be hard. Even, wasn't allowed to cry as a kid, you know. So yeah, it was the same situation. Mothers are the first teachers.
They are. They are. In you saying that, if you were to give a message to women, to mothers specifically, based on what you went through, your childhood and what you witnessed, what would you say to young mothers?
Just build your children up, love them, pour into them, let them know that they can be whatever they put their mind to, because um, there's a lot of adults that lack that, and some can't move past it, all can't move past it. So just pour into your kids, make sure they have like love. Love is important, so that would just be it.
Right. Just love on them as much as you can. I remember when I was a kid, my dad, when my mom and dad split, I didn't always get to spend time with him, but when I did, he always talked to me and told me about life, and he always just made that time and made us feel important and just spent that time with us. And I remember that more than anything. I remember the gifts, I remember the Christmas and the birthdays and all of that, but that time he spent with us and the conversations we had, that was him loving us and preparing us for life. Sometimes, oftentimes, we don't know how to love ourselves.
Right.
You just said you didn't really start learning to love yourself until you was about 30, you know. So in those years when we're not knowing how to love ourselves, and what happens with our children, you know. And I can definitely say I've been through the same thing. I've been through the same thing, learning to love me in my fullness, learning to love the skin that I am, and you know, reprogramming my mind from all those things that I was told and that I heard when I was a child. And hey, you are not those things, and it's not what you were called, but who you answer to at the end of the day. So I would want to ask you, what do you have coming up? Like, what is it? What are your goals? What are you working on for the future?
Just trying to get my name out there. Um, Working on Shauna's word right now.
Shauna's word.
Yeah.
All right.
Um, and just hoping to go further than social media, just my page, social media. So I'm claiming it.
All right. Shauna's word. So you want to elaborate on that? What the goal is? Who are you reaching? Who do you want to speak to?
My goal is to reach, first and foremost, women, because I am a woman and I'm an advocate for women. But I'm not against reaching men as well. So that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna use my testimony to reach as many people as I can, and, just to help.
Absolutely. There's a lot of pain and a lot of trauma that we hold on to, and most times we don't know how to deal with it. We don't really know what's going on with us. We don't know how to identify it. We don't have someone to speak to and talk to and say, well, baby, maybe you need to do this, or this is what's going on with you, or maybe you should go in this direction instead of that direction. I don't think we have enough of those mothers
Yeah.
anymore talking to the younger women. And I really didn't have it, to be honest with you. You know, I had to figure out a whole lot of things on my own, a whole lot of trial and error. And hold up, I don't like the way that went that time. I ain't doing that no more, you know. A whole lot of life experiences. This is important to me, and what you're doing and what you plan on doing is important to me because we'll be that voice. You'll be that voice, letting those young women know, hey, I went through something like you went through. I've been through that. This is where I am now. This is how I overcame that. This is what you do. You know, these are the steps that I took, and maybe what I went through, and my story can help you and what you're going through. Our testimonies are so powerful. They are so powerful. I know you have no idea how our first encounter and our first conversation touched me. Look, you were so gone. I'm in the background screaming, praising God. I mean, like screaming, but you were on such a high, you didn't even hear me. And I'm like, she don't even know. She don't even know. I can't even really put it into words, listening to you, what it did to me. And I know if you touch me like that, and that was first conversation, very first conversation, I'm like, oh my God, I know what it's going to do to other women hearing your story, your testimony, and what you've been through. So in closing, if you were to give a final message or say one final thing about Shauna, what would that be?
One final thing about Shauna is I'm a survivor. I'm strong. I'm a warrior. So this is not the last time you're going to see my face. So just, keep your eyes and ears on me.
Okay. So where can the audience find you? Where can they find you, follow you at?
Right now, it's just on Instagram and Facebook. It's Deshawna Abrams on Facebook, and Shauna Classy 2886 on Instagram.
Sweet, sweet. Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed having you here with me today. I know it took a lot for you to be here. This is your very first time doing this, but sharing your story and sharing some of the things that you talked about. I know that that was a challenge for you, but you did good.
Thank
You
you.
did a great job. And I look forward to everything that you have going on and coming out, and I totally support you in that. I'm really big on just us loving and embracing each other. From the very first time we spoke, that's what it's been. And I understand what it's like having so many women, and especially women that look like you, let you down and disappoint you. And I think that's why it's so important that we change that trajectory, that we start a community of, hey, how can I help you? How can I support you in what you have going on? So, hey, I'm here for you. I support you. I applaud you. The H in her is heroic. The E is eloquent. You eloquently delivered your story.
Thank you.
The R is resilient and relentless, and that's what you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right.